Hello dear student, welcome to our new session of your first year class. It's your sixth lecture. In previous lecture we'll studied about integration, we'll studied about differentiation, we'll studied about basic vectors, that how vector is implemented, what are the properties of vector and how many vectors we'll use. Lots of things in vector is still we have in our course, but later on we'll study about all the further all vectors topic. Now we'll started with the very basic part of physics, that is kinematics, which is also called first part of mechanics. See, physics is distributed into different parts. So this part is called kinematics, which is studied under mechanics first. These chapters, this kinematics basically carried 3 chapters, that is motion in one dimension, motion in plane, or we can say motion in 2 dimension, and third part of this kinematics is circular motion. All the 3 parts are very important for physics. To understand physics, how to implicit physics, what are the basic necessity of physics, what are the basic formulas of physics are studied in this chapter. So starts this chapter, we will start this chapter. Before this chapter, before starting this chapter, I'll make a schedule of this kinematics. So let's see what actually kinematics is. So my dear student, kinematics is basically the branch of physics in which we will deal all the properties when the body is in motion or in rest. My dear student, I am repeating once again, this is the branch of physics in which we will deal if particle is in motion or at rest, then what kind of things are carried by particle. So I'll write here what is the meaning of kinematics. So meaning of kinematics is the branch of physics, in which we deal all the properties achieved by body when the body is in motion or in rest. So properties means, see, if body is moving, then it covers some displacement, it covers some distance, it carries some speed, it carries some velocity. If velocity changes, then it carries some acceleration. So these are basically properties of body when the body or particle is in motion. So my dear student, in this kinematics part, we'll deal what kind of properties are carried by body, or we can say particle, when the particle or body is in motion or is in rest. So basically properties are nothing but acceleration, velocity, speed, distance, displacement. These are basically properties of body when the body is in motion. So my dear student, in this chapter we cannot deal how motion can take place. See, we all know that if I'll apply some force on body, then the body starts performing motion. So there is a force due to which body is performing motion. We cannot study about force in this chapter. We cannot study about how motion can take place by the body. In this chapter, we only deal what kind of properties are achieved by the body when the body is in motion. So I hope, my dear student, you will all framed a mindset after before studying this chapter. So remember, we are only dealing with properties which is achieved by the body when the body is in motion. And I already tell you, property means speed, distance, velocity, acceleration. These are basically properties of body. Before studying further things, let us make a chart that what chapters are in kinematics, or we can say in mechanics. So in kinematics, we'll studied three parts, my dear student. We'll studied three parts. First is basically motion in one dimension. D means dimension. Second is your motion in two dimension, that is 2D. And third is, my dear student, circular motion. Circular motion. So we have three parts in kinematics. In first part, we'll deal about motion in one dimension. In second part, we'll deal about motion in two dimension, and in third part, we'll deal about circular motion. See, circular motion is basically of two types. One is horizontal circular motion and second is vertical circular motion. So my dear student, in this part, we'll study about horizontal circular motion, and must remember this thing, horizontal circular motion is an example of two-dimensional motion, but this is basically a different part. That's why I'll make third part. So two types of circular motion is in our syllabus. One is horizontal circular motion and other is vertical circular motion. So horizontal circular motion is an example of two-dimensional motion and vertical circular motion is an example of three-dimensional motion. So in kinematics part, we'll only deal with two-dimensional motion. So in circular motion, we only deal with horizontal circular motion. Horizontal circular motion. Now see, motion in one dimension is also called, my dear student, motion in straight line. Motion in straight line, or we can say linear motion, or we can say linear motion. So motion in one dimension is also called motion in straight line, or we can say linear motion. In second part, if we'll see motion in two dimension, this is also called motion in plane. Motion in plane. So we'll discuss three different parts in kinematics. One is motion in one dimension, or we can say motion in straight line, or we can say linear motion. In second part, we'll study about motion in two dimension, or we can say motion in plane. And third part, we'll discuss about horizontal circular motion. So starts understanding what actually motion in one dimension is, what actually motion in two dimension is, and what actually motion in three dimension is. Before understanding motion, write down the heading. It is motion in one dimension. It is motion in one dimension. Motion in one dimension. Motion in one dimension, which is also called motion in straight line, or we can say motion in straight line. Motion in straight line. So dear student, what actually motion is? Motion in 1D, motion in 2D and motion in 3D. See, we know that we have a Cartesian system. Cartesian system means x-axis, y-axis and z-axis. So let's suppose, dear student, if particle is moving only along either x-axis or only along y-axis or only along z-axis. If particle is moving only along any one of the axis out of three, either it will be x-axis, either it will be y-axis or it will be z-axis. So if particle is performing motion only along any one of the axes out of 3, then we will say the particle is in one dimension motion. Similarly, if particle is opting any of the two axes, either xy, either yz or zx, then we will say particle is performing motion in 2 dimension. And if particle can opt all the 3 axes, like let's say a mosquito is flying, so mosquito basically is moving zigzag manner. So motion of mosquito is considered to be in 3 dimension. So if particle is performing motion by all the axes, throughout the axis, then we will say the particle is in 3 dimensional motion. I am repeating once again, if particle can opt only one of the axes out of 3, then it is said to be in motion in 1 dimension. If particle is opting any of the 2 axes out of 3, then it is considered in motion in 2 dimension. And if particle is opting all the 3 axes out of 3, then it is considered to be motion in 3 dimension. I hope you all are getting my point. So write down the definition of motion in 1 dimension, motion in 2 dimension and motion in 3 dimension. So write down first motion in 1 dimension. I'll write here motion in 1 dimension. So write down the definition. If particle is moving along any one of the axes out of 3, if particle is moving along, if particle is moving along any one of the axes out of 3 axes, then it is said to be motion in 1 dimension or straight line motion. So my dear student, I'll write here, if particle is moving along any one of the axes, either it will be x-axis, either it will be y-axis or it will be z-axis, then out of 3, then it is said to be motion in 1 dimension or straight line motion. Similarly, if I am talking about motion in 2 dimension, then we will say if particle is performing, or we can say moving along any of the 2 axes out of 3, I'll write here if particle is moving along any of the 2 axes out of 3 axes, then it is said to be in 2 dimension or motion in plane. Then it is said to be 2 dimension motion or motion in plane. So this is how we'll define motion in 2 dimension. So if particle is moving along any of the 2 axes out of 3, then it is said to be in 2 dimension motion, or motion in plane. I hope you all are getting my point, because this is very easy thing. So next is motion in 3 dimension. So I'll write here motion in 3 dimension. So motion in 3 dimension means if particle is moving along all the 3 axes, if particle is defining motion along all the 3 axes out of 3, then it is said to be, then it is said to be in three-dimensional motion. In three-dimensional motion. So motion is basically categorized into three types on the basis of axis. I hope you all are understanding my point. It is one dimension motion, two dimension motion and three dimension motion. If particle is moving only along any one of the axis out of three, then it is said to be in one dimension or straight line motion. If particle is moving along any of the two axes out of three, then it is said to be in two dimensional motion or motion in plane. Similarly, if particle is defining motion along all the three axes out of three, then it is said to be in three-dimensional motion. So I hope you all framed a picture what actually motion in one dimension is, what actually motion in two dimension is, and what actually motion in three dimension is. So moving forward, we are discussing about motion in one dimension. Later on we will discuss about motion in two dimension and motion in three dimension. So see my dear student, there is two words, one is motion and other is rest. I hope you all understand what actually motion is and what actually rest is. So just for revision, I'll write the definition of motion and rest. So now we'll categorize motion and rest. Motion. So my dear student, what actually motion is? See, let's suppose at t equals to t1, I am standing at a position. Now let's suppose after some time t is equals to t2, I am standing at some new position, let's suppose B. After some time, let's say t is equals to t3, I am standing at new position, let's suppose C. See, here with respect to time, as time changes, and remember my dear student, time is best example of variable. Other than time, not any single quantity is best example of variable. So remember, here time changes. T is equals to t1, t is equals to t2 and t is equals to t3. So if time changes and by changing time, see, my position is also changes. I am at t is equals to t1, I am standing at a position. After some time, let's suppose t is equals to t2, I am standing at new position, let's suppose B. After time t is equals to t3, I am shifting at point C. This C is also a new position. So we will say with respect to time, see, as time changes, my position is also changes. So with respect to time, we are defining rest and motion. Remember, with respect to time, I am defining my different position. So I will say, as time changes, if the position of particle or body is also changed, then the body or particle is said to be in motion. So write down the definition of motion. If with respect to time, the position of particle, or we can say body, with respect to time the position of particle or body changes, then the body, or we can say particle, is in, my dear student, motion. So remember this thing, if time changes, then if position of particle changes, then we will say the particle is in motion condition. Remember, I am repeating once again, if with respect to time the position of particle changes, in this scenario at time t is equals to t1, position of particle is at A, at time t is equals to t2, position of particle is at B, at time t is equals to t3, position of particle is at C. So with respect to time, if position of particle changes, then we will say the particle is in motion. Now moving forward, I hope you all understand what actually motion is. Now we will discuss about rest. So if position of particle cannot changes with respect to time, my dear student, time changes but the position of particle cannot change, then we'll say the particle is in rest condition. So I'll write here rest, write down rest. Let's suppose I'm standing at point A at time t is equals to t1, I'm standing at point A. After some time, let's suppose t is equals to t2, still I am standing at A. After some time, let's suppose t is equals to t3, I am standing at A. So see my dear student, time changes but my position cannot change. So with respect to time, if position of particle cannot changes, then the particle is said to be in rest condition. So I'll write the definition of rest. If, write down, if with respect to time, if with respect to time, position of particle cannot changes. If with respect to time, position of particle cannot changes, then we will say particle or body is at rest. So if the position of particle cannot changes with respect to time, my dear student, then we'll say the particle is in rest condition. If with respect to time, position of particle changes at some position to other position, other to some other position, then we'll say particle is in motion. So I hope you all understand what actually motion is and what actually rest is. So now moving forward, I'm discussing first what topics we'll cover in motion in straight line, or we can say motion in one dimension. So before starting the chapter, let us discuss what topics we will study, what topic we have to study in this chapter. So list of topics are, first is your distance and displacement vector. First topic is distance and displacement vector. Moving forward, second topic, this is your first topic. Second topic is speed and velocity vector. Moving forward, third topic will be acceleration vector. Now moving forward, fourth topic is equation of motion with constant acceleration. Next, motion under gravity. So in this chapter, my dear student, we'll discuss 5 different parts, or we can say 5 different topics. These 5 different topics can make this chapter. So this is our 5 major topics which we'll discuss in this chapter. First is distance and displacement vector. Second is speed and velocity vector. Third is acceleration vector. Fourth is your equation of motion with constant acceleration. And fifth is motion under gravity. Lots of topics are there, but these are the major topics which we have to cover in this chapter, motion in straight lines. So write down first all the topics which we have covered in this chapter. These are, remember, these are major topics only. In this chapter we'll discuss more thing, but let they are the subtopics on these topics. So these are the major topics which we have to discuss in this chapter. Make a list. First is distance, displacement. Second is speed, velocity vector. Third is acceleration vector. Fourth is equation of motion with constant acceleration. And fifth is motion under gravity. So let's start dealing with our chapter which is called motion in straight line, or we can say motion in one dimension. Motion in straight line, or we can say motion in one dimension. So write down our very first topic, which is position vector. I already discussed position vector in vector part, but still let us make another discussion on position vector. So write down heading position vector. Write down position vector. So my dear student, position vector is nothing by name, it is a vector quantity. So remember, position vector is a vector quantity which is represented by r vector. R vector is the presentation, or we can say representation of position vector. So let us discuss what actually position vector is. So my dear student, let's suppose I am making a Cartesian system. Cartesian system means x-axis, y-axis and z-axis. This is our origin O, where x is 0, y is 0 and z is also 0. We know that one more thing about unit vector, as in vector portion I will already tell you. Unit vector are those vector whose magnitude is unity and is used to give the direction. So we know that if we are dealing with motion in one dimension, the motion can take place either along x-axis or along y-axis or along z-axis. So all the three axes carry unit vector. Along x-axis we know that unit vector is I cap, along y-axis we know that unit vector is j cap, along z-axis we know that unit vector is k cap. So I'll write here, along x-axis unit vector is I cap, along y-axis unit vector is j cap, and along z-axis unit vector is k cap. Let's suppose in this Cartesian system we have a point, let's say is A, where my particle is placed. See, we have a point A where the particle is placed. First thing, before visualization of Cartesian system, remember my dear student, if any point, any particle is placed in Cartesian system and Cartesian system is given, then it is possible for us to write the coordinates of particle. I am repeating once again, and write here in form of note that if Cartesian system is present, if Cartesian system is present, then we can write coordinates of particle. This is very important, my dear student. Remember this thing. If any particle is placed in Cartesian system, then we are capable to write its coordinate. Remember this thing, I am repeating once again. See, if any particle is present in Cartesian system, then we are capable to write its coordinate. So let's suppose the coordinate of a particle is x, y and z. Let's suppose x1, y1 and z1. Here x1, y1 and z1. Now see, if I am taking another point, let's suppose B, our new point is B. So B cannot carry similar coordinate. If point B is present in Cartesian system, then B carries some different coordinates. So if point in Cartesian system changes, if the position of point or position of particle or position of body changes in Cartesian system, then it must be considered as its coordinate is also changes. So the new coordinates of B is x2, y2, z2. I am repeating once again, if the position of point or position of particle changes in Cartesian system, then it is but obvious that its coordinate is also be changed. So coordinate of A point is x1, y1, z1 and coordinate of B point is x2, y2 and z2. Now see my dear student, we are discussing about position vector. So position vector is basically a straight line. This is your straight line for point A, Having magnitude, we know that vector is presented by an arrow in which head gives direction and the length of this line give you the magnitude. So position vector is basically straight line joining the particle with origin. So this is the straight line which join the particle with origin, having magnitude as well as direction. So for giving direction, I'll make an arrow. So this line is basically, my dear student, position vector. Remember, position vector of A. So I'll write it RA vector. And remember one more thing, my dear student, without the coordinates of particle, I am repeating once again, without the coordinates of particle, we cannot define position vector. I'll write another note. Second, without coordinates of particle, we can not define position vector. We cannot define position vector. So for writing position vector, you must know the coordinates of particle. If given, then it is okay. But if not given, then you have to make the coordinates of particle first, then only you will make its position vector. So I'll write the definition of position vector. Position vector is, I'll write here definition of position vector, my dear student. So position vector, it is a straight line, joins the particle with origin having magnitude as well as direction. Now see, my dear student, the formula of writing position vector is, I'll write here, R vector is equals to xi cap plus yj cap plus zk cap. We know that x, y, z, these are coordinates of particle, and we know that I cap, j cap, k cap are unit vectors which give direction. So if the formula of position vector is xi cap plus yj cap plus zk cap, where x, y and z are coordinates of particle, then think about, without coordinates of particle, how you are capable to write the position vector. So this is basically definition of position vector. It is a straight line join the particle with origin having magnitude as well as direction. So this is your RA vector, which is called position vector of A. Now see, if I'll consider A to be initial point and B to be final point, so RA vector is said to be initial position vector because this position vector is made for initial point. Similarly, if I'll make another line and join B with origin and giving direction to B, then this is basically final position vector, or we can say position vector of point B, because B point is considered to be final point. So I'll write here RA vector is equals to, see, x coordinate of A is x1 I cap plus y coordinate is y1 j cap plus z coordinate is z1 k cap. So this is the position vector of point A. Similarly, if I write position vector of point B, it is RB vector, which is x2 I cap plus y2 j cap plus z2 k cap. So B position vector of point B is x2 I cap plus y2 j cap plus z2 k cap. Here x2, y2, z2 are coordinates of B, x1, y1, z1 are coordinates of A. So position vector of A is RA vector and position vector of B is RB vector. If A is initial point, then RA is said to be initial position vector RB is said to be final position vector, and without coordinates of particle we cannot define position vector. So I hope you all understand what actually position vector is and how we'll proceed position vector. Now moving forward, our next topic is, my dear student, we have to deal a question. Let's suppose we have a room. Room must be in cuboid shape. We'll discuss the numerical on position vector. As already tell you, without coordinates of particle we cannot define position vector. So if coordinates is not given, then you have to find the coordinate. If coordinates are given, then you are capable to write the position vector. So let's suppose we have a room like this in cuboid shape. This is your room, and at the center of room on ceiling there is a fan. We know that fan is connected with a connecting rod, and fan always present at the center of the room. So this is your room, and a fan is attached with ceiling with a connecting rod. Let's suppose the length of rod is 0.2 meter. This is x-axis, which is, let's say, is 10 meter. This is y-axis, let's say this is your origin 0, 0, 0. Let's suppose 8 meter, and this is z-axis, it is, let's say, is 4 meter. So this is the length of the room. 10 meter is the length of room, 8 meter is height of room, and 4 meter is width of room. There is a fan which is connected with a connecting rod in ceiling, and the length of connecting rod is 0.2 meter. The question is, write down find the position vector. Find the position vector of fan. Find the position vector of fan. So before writing the position vector, we know the formula of position vector. It is R vector is equals to xi cap plus yj cap plus zk cap. This is the formula of position vector. And I already tell you, my dear student, that without coordinates we cannot capable to write the position vector, to define the position vector of particle. So in this scenario, dear student, we are not giving the coordinates. We don't have coordinates of fan. So without the coordinates of fan, we cannot write its position vector. Before starting discussion on coordinates of fan, let us make the diagram of position vector. So this is our origin, this is particle, because we have to find the coordinates of fan. So position vector of fan. So for us, particle is basically fan. So I'll make a straight line, join the particle with origin having magnitude as well as direction. So this is basically position vector of fan. I hope you all are getting my point. So this is basically position vector of fan. Now discuss about coordinates. So we know that the length of room is given, it is 10 meter. And we know that this is considered to be x-axis, this is y-axis, and this is our z-axis. So x is given, total x is given, it is 10 meter. But fan is connected at the center of the room. So we know that if we'll take center from origin, then this length must be 5 meter. So the value of x is now 5 meter. We can say the coordinate of fan along x-axis is 5. Similarly, see, this is the height of room, 8 meter, and with the help of connecting rod, fan is connected. So this 8 meter is from bottom to top, but we have to find the position vector of fan. So we cannot take 8 meter. We will take 8 minus 0.2 meter. Why 8 minus 0.2 meter? Because 0.2 meter down there is a fan. So we'll say y is basically 8 minus 0.2. So y is 7.8 meter. Similarly z. So z is basically width of the room. It is 4 meter, and fan is connected at the center of the room. So z is considered to be 2 meter. Now we have x coordinate of fan, we have y coordinate of fan, and we have z coordinate of fan. So position vector of fan is, the formula of position vector is xi cap plus yj cap plus zk cap. So the coordinate of fan along x is 5, so I'll write 5i cap, plus coordinate of y fan, it is 7.8 j cap plus 2 is z coordinate, so 2 k cap. So this is the formula of position vector of this fan in this scenario. So I hope you all understand about what actually position vector is. So remember, my dear student, without coordinates, I am repeating once again, without coordinates we cannot able to write the position vector of particle. Remember this thing, if coordinates are not given, then try to make the coordinates. After making the coordinates of particle, then only you will capable to write its position vector, which is xi cap plus yj cap plus zk cap. So this is all about today's lecture, my dear student. In next class we'll discuss distance and displacement, its property, how it is connected with position vector, and what are the uses of vector in our chapter. So stay connected with us, stay at home, stay safe. Thank you so much for watching the video. We'll meet in next class with the topic distance and displacement vector. Thank you so much, dear student.